It's time once again for the Kennett Indian Coaches Show as we talk basketball with Kennett Indian head basketball coach Noll Billings. First, Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we would say welcome you to Kennett High School, but you've been here as
Yes,
an
sir.
assistant. You've been here as a player. You're a Kennett guy. I know it has to be very exciting for you to take over the helm of this basketball program.
Very exciting, very exciting. Pumped to be here, nervous, ready. Let's go.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about you, your philosophies, your assistant coaches, and your players. Every year we start basketball season with a couple of tournaments. You play up at Gideon in the Bulldog Classic, and then you turn around and play immediately in the SEMO Conference Tournament. So 2 tournaments to start the season. Then you get into a little bit of a regular season for a week, and then you're at Bloomfield. So you have 3
Right.
tournaments within the first month of the season.
More, actually. We've had 11 games in the last 10 days. 11 games in 10 days. So, because we had JV guys rocking. They played over at Campbell, and then they had a tournament at Bernie. They just took home the title up at the Bernie JV tournament. Played real good.
Congratulations
Yes,
to them. And that's one of the things the casual basketball fans may not know. It's just not varsity basketball that you guys are involved with. And on top of that, the practices for all of these teams.
That's a mistake I think that we've made in the past that in my opinion, that other coaches have made in the past is not focusing on the JV and the freshman schedule enough and not being as involved in. I mean, that should be a platform for development, for skills. We shouldn't be having to teach juniors and seniors how to dribble, pass, and shoot. We should be teaching them how to execute offense and how to, the defensive philosophies. But that's something we want to make sure as a staff going into year 2, we've given them a full year of preparation. Going into year 3, they've had 2 full years, and then they're playing varsity. And we focused hard, and it's been exhausting, but I think the kids get it, and they're buying in, and they looked terrific last night.
Well, it's such an advantage when you have these kids coming up and they know what is expected of them when
Heck
they
yeah.
become a varsity basketball player. They know your defensive schemes, your
Right.
offensive schemes, and it's just a head start when they don't start from scratch as a freshman.
Any program that I've seen be successful, from Charleston, watching a little game film, but Charleston, Saxton, any of them, they run, Hollifield's involved from 4th grade up. Up in Charleston, they do it the same way. You know what they're going to play before you show up. I could tell you what Hollifield's going to play when they come in here every year. As long as he's there, they're going 2-2-1 back into a 2-3. And that's his game, and they run and gun. And I feel like we're going to have the same thing here with Coach McKegg over at junior high and myself here, just getting cohesive. I'm excited. He's excited. And we've got 4th, 5th, 6th grade going. For anybody out there that's not involved that wants to be, touch base with me. Hit me up on Facebook, whatever you kids are using these days, and let's get involved. We had over 100 this summer up in the gym.
That's one thing I see. The excitement for Kennett Indian basketball is at a level that we haven't seen for years.
It's good to hear. I hope so.
And not only that, you want the young kids to be cool to play basketball again.
Heck yeah, man. When I was going to high school here, and I'm not one of those guys that thinks that I lived in the glory days, but I know for a fact we'd have so many. Everybody wanted to make the team. Everybody. I mean, it would be packed. You had to line up to try out, and it was never a deal where am I going to play? It was you were going to play. It was cool to play basketball. The girls wanted the basketball guys, and we're going to get that back going. We got some guys that came out this year that haven't played in years, and I appreciate them so much. Like Blake Raspberry, he's been out. I mean, I pretty much told him, like, dude, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be at your doorstep. You're playing. And thank goodness he's been terrific and is one of the leaders statistically that we've had so far after 5 games. And he's been out for who knows when.
Yeah, you got some guys. You got the numbers,
Yes, sir.
and that's always important. Let's talk about you as a coach, your philosophy, and really what you like to do as a coach.
Yeah. Well, comes from being a player. I was never the biggest, strongest, most talented guy. I always had to grind for a spot from 7th grade basketball on through collegiate level basketball. And my college coaches and myself are still dear friends. We talk all the time, and I tell them nothing made me better than the fact that I knew coming in that they had recruited over me all summer. I got to start as a sophomore up at Missouri Baptist University, and I came in as a sophomore. I was not even on the top roster guy. I wasn't even dressing. And I just made it a point, like, Coach, I'm going to outwork him. I'm going to outwork whoever you got. They'd bring in this kid from California. They'd bring in a kid from Kentucky, who's supposed to be this great player. And man, by the time season started, I'd got a spot. And then I'd come in the next year as a junior, and they'd recruit over me again. You should do that as a collegiate coach. You want to have the best, caliber roster you can have. But it made me realize that, hey, I got to find a way. And I got to work out harder than everybody. And I got to make sure my shooters, if you're my shooter, I got to make sure that you're coming over there to coach's ear saying, I want Billings on the court, because he gets me the ball where I want it, when I want it. And just attention to every little detail you can contribute to helping your team win. And that's what I focused on. We got a big boy that moved in, or that transferred in my junior and senior year, and he was tough, man. I made sure he ate. I got him the ball anytime he wanted it. When he was sick of it, I'd go get it from him. And when he was happy, we were winning. And so my thing is find a way to contribute to win, and that's going to help the team. That's going to help everybody. It's going to make you a better person, because that's what life's about, in my opinion. What can I do? How can I contribute? What do my loved ones need? What does my team need? What do I need from them? And how do we get it done together? So
that's a great lesson, like you say, just in life, because it's not all basketball. When they get out of school and then start a career, same thing applies.
Absolutely. If I'm not contributing over there in my classroom, Mr. Pritchett's going to replace me real quick. If I'm not contributing as a coach, they're going to replace me, and they should, because that should be why I want the gig, because I think I can help, and it should be fun. That should be what it's about. I've seen so many kids just in my brief time here. I was here for 2 years as an assistant, and man, we could be beating Charleston on Friday night at Charleston, and we'd have a kid down there pouting about, he wasn't in the game, and I'm like, my gosh, how are you not freaking excited right now? And it's something we got to get out of them. It's something we got to stress, and we have stressed. I got hired in May, and we started immediately. When we had open gym, like, the culture was going to be different. I actually brought you one of these handbooks. I want you to see what my expectations are, and if you see something other than that from one of my kids, I want to know about it. And I hope the community knows that I want to know about it, and they've done a terrific. I cannot tell you how proud I am of them. We went up to SEMO conference, took a couple losses, but we didn't have a kid out of line. We had a kid. Every single student athlete represented what we're about up there to the utmost, and I'm so proud of them for it.
Well, one thing that is easy to pick up with your team, a home game coming Tuesday, by the way. So
come out,
get out and pack this place and see this team. But how hard your players play.
Thank you.
They get after it on defense.
I'm telling you what.
And you will put 5 fresh players in, and you really can't tell the difference from the 5 that came out to the 5 going in. And they all play hard, and they know they have to if they're going to have that spot.
It's been a blessing. I mean, I had this group that's juniors now. So we have, on the varsity roster that went up there, we had 1 freshman, or Ashton didn't go, but our varsity roster consists of 1 freshman, 5 sophomores, and 10 juniors, 2 seniors. So we're young and we're coming up, but from the top to bottom, we can put everybody in the game and we don't lose a ton. We got guys that are going to play hard, and they've bought into that. I've had Coach Hollifield call me and said the same thing. Coach Allen, first thing he said after the game, Notre Dame's coach, I mean, they just couldn't believe how hard my kids played. And what a blessing. Now it's up to us to get better at basketball, and we can start focusing on that. Because our first focus was, let's change the culture. Let's the way we walk, the way we look, the way we walk in the gym, the way we shoot free throws, the way we bang, the way we run, and they've done that. And I appreciate you saying, I appreciate everybody that's made that comment. But now, since we've taken care of the groundwork, we can focus on basketball. We got to get better.
You mentioned getting better early in the season. Like previous Kennett teams in the last few years, when you go up against these SEMO conference foes and you got 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" players that you're playing against,
right.
Again, your tallest player, I think, 6'3".
Yes, sir.
And some of those players aren't really what you would call a post player.
That's right.
It's a big challenge for you as a coach and a coaching staff to try to first defend the taller players, but also be able to score. And
we struggled scoring up at the SEMO games. We did. And we shot the ball poor. I think a lot of that's just the speed of the game. We got to adjust to that. You go from the Gideon tournament, which is a great tournament. I mean, we got knocked out of it. So nothing against Gideon, but you go up there to Sykeston, and it's a faster paced game. So you're rushing your shot, you're dribbling a little different, you're in a hurry. You got to be quick without being in a hurry, and that's tough for the guards, and it's tough for these kids to get. But it's something we're working on. It's something we're stressing, and I can promise you to to answer what I think you were hinting at, we're not backing down from anybody. We're going right in the mouth, and we're going to swing. We're not taking punches. We're not going to sit back in the zone and try to get beat by 10 to Charleston. We're going to press Charleston just like we're going to press Zenith, just like we're going to press Tuesday night, and we're going to do it all night long. And if they beat us 200 to 50, congratulations. We're going to be better at it next year because of it.
Folks, that's why you need to come out and see this team.
Come on, Tuesday
night.
We need you Monday, too. We got a freshman game Monday. We've got JV and varsity Tuesday. And it'll be quick because there's only 2 quarters of that
That's
game.
right.
Due
The varsity game probably start about 6:45.
We'll start early, so get there for the JV game. Our JV is fun to watch. I promise you.
Get out of here.
I think there was 2 dunks last night in the JV game from our guys. I mean, they're shooting threes. They're getting after it. That freshman bunch mixed with that sophomore bunch is fun. But then we got a freshman game Thursday. Sykeston coming down here. They beat us by, I think, a shot at the buzzer in overtime my first year. So they're coming back for a little rematch, a freshman rematch. And then we've got at Charleston Friday. Yeah. So it's going to be another busy week.
It is. Coach, let's, before we take our first break, tell us about your coaching staff. I know that's important.
Got a great staff, yes. We got just the people from the community that have volunteered and honest to God, they're treated just as I am treated as a full coach. I mean, our kids are yes sir, no sir with them, but we got Jackson Hemfling who's come back, and he's just a stellar individual. I mean, what did he take, 83 charges in a season? I think that's when I talked to admin about him, I just said, man, that dude's got a spot on any roster I'm ever in charge of. He's taken more charges in a season than our whole roster has in their careers. So we're going to get there. We're going to have him contribute. And John Patton, I hope they're working on a statue of him. He's volunteered for how long do you think he's been up here pouring his heart and soul into this program for free? I'm telling you, he's a gem. And then we've got Ben Sindel from Dexter. We got to keep him, folks. If you see him out, buy him a drink or a cup of coffee. We got to keep him around. And we got Eric Johnson, who's been my right-hand man, just rock and roll. He's on it, man. He's about the kids and ride or die with them. They love him, and they respond to him.
That's what it's all about. Coach, let's take a break.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of your players on this this year's team when the Coaches Show continues with Noll Billings right after this. Back on the Kennett Indian Coaches Show as we visit with head basketball coach Noll Billings. And, Coach, this young basketball team that you have, a lot of working parts, and I know these guys are learning on the go with varsity experience. Tell us about your basketball team and the players.
There's so many, but first and foremost, the guys that have taken the reins and helped me change the culture, I got to say Hunter Kirk and Chris Jefferson have been my go-to guys. I mean, those dudes are workers. They are fearless. I mean, they came in as freshmen and we won 5 games. 5. In a 4-month season, we won 5 games. And we were not just taking losses, we were getting thumped. Our JV that year, I was the JV coach, and you got Hunter Kirk, Chris Jefferson, Noah, I'm going to forget somebody, forgive me. You've got Noah Matheny, you've got Caden Taylor Wook, you got Zy Taylor, you got Amarion Hubbard, you got, who am I forgetting, Coach? Cooper. Yeah, Coop. You got Dyson. No, they were 8th graders then. I'm forgetting some people. They're going to kill me today when they see me. But anyways, we just got thumped, man. We took a 50-point loss to Jackson that year. We took a 40-point loss to Bernie that year. We took a 30-plus at Poplar Bluff. I mean, it was just thumping after thumping. And they came in the next year, or after that season, I just said, guys, I got something to tell you. The good news is y'all are tough. Man, y'all have not quit. Nobody quit. I ran those kids to death, man. I thought I could just run the turnovers out of them and frustrate. Like Ashton Williams. Ashton Williams has been a key part of everything. I thought I was going to run them to death, and nobody quit. And I was like, man, if they can do that, we can get better. Because you can coach. You can coach some kids that aren't going to quit when it gets tough. You can coach kids that are resilient and willing to do whatever it takes. And I could see it in their eyes, like they were like, man, we ain't going nowhere. You can run us again. You know, we're here. And they're still that way. And they've come so far. They went from a 5-win freshman season to a 17-win sophomore season. And now they're banging in the CMO conference and going toe-to-toe. You know, we had the lead in the 3rd quarter against Dexter. We had the lead in the 3rd quarter against Notre Dame. They're fearless, and they're changing the culture, and they're the reason why our locker room's spotless right now. And they're the reason why, you know, we're getting the compliments we're getting from other coaches, and they're the reason why we're going to change the program. And whether we win them all this year or lose them all, the culture is going to shift because of what those kids have done.
I know you talked a little bit about, early season and some things you're wanting to correct. I know turnovers, speed of the game, playing
stop at
fast
turnovers
but
and it'll
still
be
being
more
in
than-
control. I know that has to be.
Yeah.
But that almost goes hand in hand with being a high-pressure press, fast break type team.
And I've been unwilling to budge on it so far, and the coaches want to wring my neck half the time. I mean, anybody who's at the game can tell you we were out-coached by Cooter. Mathis just did a terrific job, and I wasn't going to change. And we're going to do what we're going to do, and it bit us. And I'm challenging my kids to say, hey, we're going to see Cooter again. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the exact same thing. And hopefully we can do what we do well enough to not have to worry about that on a nightly basis, and then mix in some other stuff. And but they've responded to what I've asked them to do, and I believe that before we can worry too much about what anybody else is doing, we got to fix what we can do. What can we do well? What can we do better than everybody else? Right now, we don't got a 40-point guy, a 40 points a night like Dexter's got in Coast or Nichols, but we got 15 guys that can average 5 points. How do you guard that? We've got 15 fresh legs to run in and out of games. That makes it tough on people. So we got to think about what do we do well, capitalize on it, and then let the cards fall where they may. When it comes to turnovers, we are working our tush off right now. Every coach on the bench right now is on his Google and researching different coaching philosophies. And the bottom line is you can't get out there and play. You just can't. And we haven't seen man-to-man yet. We've seen zone. So it's something that our kids just have to have a shift of the way they view possessing the ball. The way they view a turnover has to change. I mean, it needs to be. I was coming out. When I was in high school, if I turned it over, I was coming out. I knew that going into the game. So I don't like doing that. I don't think it's going to benefit our team. I don't think they're going to play better being nervous to throw a pass. However, if it gets down to it, if we don't fix it, you're going to see a lot of guys coming out because you cannot play at this level and not value the basketball. So it's going to be a challenge, and we want to go into Bloomfield Christmas tournament having it under control and having it by the reins and not stressing about that. Right now we can't run 4 out, 1 in, pass and screen away. If you can't throw the ball from A to B, you can't run anything.
Well, Coach, I know for you and your coaching staff,
Yes, sir.
ultimate goal is to be playing your best basketball at the end of the season.
Heck yeah. That's something, with Coach Johnson, he coached under Jim Bidwell. You knew Jim Bidwell team, you could knock them off early. You see them after Christmas, you're in trouble. And that's one thing. I talked to Coach Hollifield today, and I was just calling him. I said, well, I knew somebody was in trouble when I seen you guys played so poorly the night before. You're going to take it out on somebody. And he said, well, that's one thing about my teams I'm always so proud of. We're a completely different team. Come district tournament, we're going to be a completely different team. And I believe with all my heart that we're going to be a different team.
Well, Tuesday night, you have the first varsity home
Yes, sir.
game against South Pemiscot. And I know you want this place packed. Probably when you were taking the floor wearing a jersey,
Absolutely.
the crowds looked a lot different at that time than they do now. You want to get back to that.
Absolutely. I can remember Dexter coming in here, and they had more people than we did. And I thought, unbelievable. We got to rally some troops, man. We don't want that to happen to our kids. We do not want to have South Pem in here louder than us. I do like I used to do at our shows in music. The game, if it really started at 7, I'd tell everybody 6. Like, come out we start at 6, and then people would be out there like, man, what's going on? Like, it's the build-up, baby. It's the build-up. Come out. If everybody comes out, it's going to be a blast. The kids play hard. It is going to be exciting basketball. We're going to make them play at our tempo. Everybody that comes in this building is going to play at our tempo. And that's my promise to you. We're swinging. We're swinging for the fences.
Coach Noll Billings, appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you. Appreciate what y'all do.
We'll see you Tuesday night.
See y'all Tuesday. Let's
All
go.
right. Coach Noll Billings on the Kennett Indian Coaches Show.